Hi, this is Monica Muir, Elite QuickBooks Solution Provider and Advanced Certified QuickBooks Pro Advisor. And today I'd like to talk to you about the cash flow projector that's a feature in the desktop version of QuickBooks. And I think many folks don't know it's there or maybe don't know how to work with it. So I just wanted to share it with you, and then you can decide from there whether it's one that you want to add to your toolkit when you're working in QuickBooks. So let me go into the open a QuickBooks file. And if you go into Company and Planning and Budgeting, that's where you'll find the cash flow projector. And it will take a minute or so to open. They do have, it's just a few steps that it walks you through. So from that perspective, it's not complex. And they do have samples that you can take a look at if you wanted to know. Hopefully this will answer a lot of your questions. So I'm going to click on Next, and we're going to start off with, how much cash do you want to make available for doing these cash flow projections. So, obviously what's in your bank account, maybe you had some loan money coming in. Maybe you've got money that hasn't actually hit the bank yet and you want to include that. Maybe there's some other adjustment. Maybe an owner is going to put in some money or that you want to make an adjustment here. Up to you. Maybe you have more than one bank account, and do you want to include all your bank accounts or not? So maybe you didn't want to include a savings account or a money market. But if you have a payroll, some people keep an operating and a payroll account. I don't see that as much anymore, but I still see it sometimes. Maybe you do want to include payroll because that's one of your expenses, right? So the next part is, so we've got our starting point, what we want to start with for cash. The next thing is to decide, your money, how's your money going to come in? Now, this is going to go out for 6 weeks. I wish it went out for, 60 to 90 days at least, if not 6 months. But it would be nice but it is what it is, right? So you do have choices. So obviously you can put it in manually, and you could, if you've got something you want to do, you can. And the more comfortable you are with your numbers, sometimes maybe that makes more sense. You can just use whatever you did for the last 6 weeks. You can use an average of the last 6 weeks. Weighted average means that the last few payments that you received are actually more typical for this time of year for you. And so you want to put more weight to that. So you can do that. Or you could do base it on last year. Now, this is 2020. We've got the pandemic going on. That might not be a good option this year, hopefully. Going forward, it might be options for you as well. But notice that as I check these different options, then you'll see that they change on here. So you'll see the numbers will change in here if I do an average of last 6 weeks. So these numbers change. So up to you how you want to project out. And maybe you've got deposits coming in from a couple jobs. They've signed off on the estimates, and you have an idea of when that money is going to come in. So you can go ahead and adjust there. So I'll flip back to the weighted average. But again, you can experiment and see what you might want to do. I will let you know under the reports, if you go to accounts and receivable, there's an average days of pay. I would make it for this purpose, I would probably just make it for this year. At tops, I would make it last year and this year to get an idea of, on average, how do your customers overall pay you? That would give you an idea of how to project here. You can also take a look at individual customers if you wanted to. If you're working with, some big developers or, some of the big box stores, property management companies, maybe that comes into play too. So you can adjust that way if you want. Next thing now is we're going to take a look at your expenses. Now these expenses on this screen are the ones that don't show up in your bills, and for my clients who try to use their P&L for cash flow projections, not what I recommend, but I know I have a few that try. That this is the reason, because these affect your bank account, but they don't show up on the P&L. So it's your loan payments, and it's the payroll liabilities, the sales tax, right? And now your payroll does show up, but payroll is not a bill, but it's definitely a major expense for many of you. So think about what you actually have in here. So, and you could list the different ones. And up to you. You can list all your individual loans if you want, or you could come in and you could decide, you know what, I don't want to list all of them, but maybe you want to group them together. So maybe you want to do them weekly. And so the loans that go are paid the first week are the loans that are paid the second week. And you can do it that way if you want. And that would cut down on the amount of entry. And then for sales tax payable, that's obviously going to be an average and that's going to fluctuate, but what might it run? Same thing with your payroll. But again, down here, you can make those adjustments. So maybe there's an insurance payment that's going to have to get paid and it doesn't get entered as a bill or something. So think about what can work for you. You can also choose the day that you're going to do these. So I've got a frequency, but I also get to pick the day here. But these are, again, all the ones that are not in your bills, but they are payable. You are going to have to pay them, right? So the next step then is we're going to take a look at the ones that are in your bills. So this pulls straight from the bill. So the amount is from the bill, the due date is from the bill. Now you get to choose the payment date, but you don't get to choose the dollar amount. Now when you actually go to pay the bills, so maybe for Allen Block, I want to pay 5,000 instead of 10. When I'm actually going to pay them, I could. So maybe you make that adjustment down here on there. And yes, I know this is my play file. So I've been out of business a long time ago. So we're way past due on paying our bills, right? Not we've not been a good company to work with, but you can see what's going on in here, and again, you can make your adjustments as you need. But this will pull up all your bills that you've got on there. So now, then you can finish your projection. So, um, and like I said, it'd be nice if it went out 6 weeks, or I mean more than 6 weeks. It'd be great if we could export out to Excel. Unfortunately, we can't. But it does show you, here's what we started with for cash, and then based on the averages that we did for our cash receipts, we did that. And so here's the cash that we have to work with to pay our expenses. And so here's the business expenses that aren't in our payables per se. So you can see what's going on there. And then the ones that do show in your payables, you can see, and then this gives you your ending cash balance. So it's a nice feature. It does take some time the first time to set it up, but once you've set it up, then the bills, if you use the bill feature, they automatically come in. Your loans are probably pretty stable. They're pretty much the same amount every month or every quarter, how often you pay them. So that part becomes easy. Some of the other stuff is going to fluctuate a little bit. And your cash receipts, you're probably going to change that. And you might find that with that average days to pay report that maybe you do make come in here and do this more manually. But it still is a good start. It does give you an idea of what you're looking at, and if nothing else, it's worth a try. It's just another tool to put in your toolkit when you're trying to figure out, how your business is going, and are you going to have the cash, and most importantly, when you need it, right? So, um, let me know if you've got questions, and let me see, go back in here and give you a way to reach me. So if you want, I do actually have a PowerPoint with some of these slides on there. So if you want it, let me know. I do have a website. It's neurassociates.com, and I've got a lot of report articles there. And I do have links to some of my videos as well. And then I do have other information on my website, obviously. And I do sell QuickBooks, so obviously if you want to order, you can do that. Here's how you can reach me. There's my email address. There's my phone number. So I would love to hear, if you've got questions on this or if this is helpful for you, you liked it, you didn't like it, that's okay. Either way, always good to hear. So I have my own opinion too. So let me know, and all the best. Bye.